Well, hello there and welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm Jennifer Anderson, host of the show. I'm also the executive director of the Georgina Chamber of Commerce. This is a show that we put together for businesses and about businesses in the town of Georgina. And certainly, you know, when we started in March, we were focusing on COVID and the resources that are available. And we've taken our time over the 26 episodes that we have already produced and really delved into some of those resources, some of the grants, some of the local businesses and what they have to offer to people in this community. And now that we're back into lockdown, now that we are, and you know, for everybody in Georgina, we know we went from red lockdown to gray to the provincial lockdown and now the stay-at-home order. So businesses have really felt the effects of being in those high risk areas over the course of the last few months. And so as we continue to create these episodes, we want to make sure that businesses in our community have the resources that are available to them at a local level. So that's why I'm thrilled to have my guests on the show today. I'd like to introduce them to you now. Karen Stone is the Manager of Economic Development in the Economic Development and Tourism Division of the town of Georgina. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Jen, and thank you very much for having us on the show today. I really enjoy talking to you as always, and how we together support our local business community. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And I spent the morning trying to figure out, you know, your long title. I wanted to make sure that I said it exactly. So I love having you on the show. I love being able to share the local resources with you. And I'm also thrilled to have Charles Banfield with us. He is the Manager of Strategic Economic Initiatives with the Regional Municipality of York. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Jennifer. Nice to be here, and nice to see Karen as well. Looking forward to our discussion today.
Well, and I love, you know, we have talked about the resources and the information that's available to businesses at a provincial level, at a federal level, and it's nice to be able to bring it a little bit closer to home and talk about the regional opportunities and the municipal and the more local opportunities. So Karen, I'm going to start with you. As part of the Economic Development and Tourism Division of the town of Georgina, what does that mean? What does your division do for businesses in this community?
Thanks, Jen. So our economic development for a shorter term for our division, Economic Development Office, really focuses on supporting all sectors of the business community. From the point where we have investors coming into our community, looking for land, looking for commercial or industrial space, to those existing businesses that are looking to scale up, expand their businesses. We look at businesses and the supports that are available to them at all stages of their growth. So that's primarily what we're doing. We're also doing a lot of marketing, certainly to promote investment in our community from those businesses that are looking to come out and establish themselves in the town of Georgina. And when the time is right, certainly looking to draw the tourists into our downtown areas and to shop and to enjoy our beaches and our rural countryside.
Now, this is a department that exists within the town always. This isn't something new, although a lot of what you are doing and your strategic plan and how you are really going through your priorities has changed over the last year.
Yeah, it really has, Jen, and it's changed the way we conduct our businesses. As you know, some of us are working remotely, some of us are in the office, and we've had to make sure that our website and online services have been streamlined, because we know there's no longer anybody coming into the office. For the most part, we aren't going out to the businesses. We're unable to visit them in person. So we've had to make sure that all of our grant applications, all of our information is very succinct and easy to read and streamlined on our website. So we've done that. We've shortened some of our grant applications online, and we've also introduced an online support service through the Pivot Planning Squad that allows businesses to simply go online, book an appointment, and one of our staff will call them and look to assess what their needs are, and then certainly direct them to all the other resources that are available in our community from various agencies and organizations.
Well, I want to mention that because you just mentioned the Pivot Planning Squad, and that's something that came to fruition throughout the pandemic when you recognize the need of local businesses and, having the opportunity to be able to talk to them and figure out where it is that they need the greatest help.
Yeah, through that Pivot Planning Squad, it really it gives us a chance to talk one-on-one to the business owners, understand their concerns. And as you know, there are so many resources out there, and it's really hard to navigate all the websites, all of the programs that are available. So it's a little bit of, as you know, the Chamber's been doing this as well. It's one-on-one hand-holding and helping the businesses to even determine whether or not they're eligible for a certain program, because we have programs that are municipal level, but we really want to see if they're eligible for those federal and provincial programs. So we're helping them through navigating all of the programs that are available.
There have been a few programs that have been introduced over the last 10 months, and it was really nice at council a few weeks ago to be able to hear that some of those programs have been extended into 2021. So want to talk a little bit about them. Let's start with the temporary patio, because I know that was a great opportunity for businesses as restaurants had to close, but could produce some outside events and some outside seating for their businesses.
Yeah, the temporary patio program was very well received, and certainly we know municipalities across York Region had to quickly recognize that businesses needed those outdoor dining spaces and didn't have time to go through. Sometimes it requires a planning process to establish an additional outdoor patio area. So we really streamlined the process. Council approved a program that allowed businesses to set up outdoor patios with very little regard for the zoning provisions. We wanted to make sure that certainly parking was provided. We had all the safety protocols in place, building code, fire code regulations in place. But it was very successful. We've established that we will extend it into this year, but of course, now we're in a further lockdown. It's takeout only, but we're hoping to see our way through to the springtime when we can see some outdoor dining. And our planning staff are working on a more permanent solution and policies under the zoning bylaw that really streamline the setup of patios on a continual permanent basis.
Right. Right. Another program that was offered, the Not-for-Profit and Charities COVID-19 grant program, and that program still exists and has continued into 2021.
Yes, council last year did dedicate monies for charities and not-for-profits, and I think it's in the recognition that our community is great because we have so many of these organizations that provide services to our residents. We wouldn't be the community we are without all of those services here in Georgina, and I know you'll agree with me.
Yes.
The volunteer organizations we have in this community, they've really it's been a tough time. They've been unable to hold fundraising events. So this grant was in recognition of all the hard work they do. They were able to receive through sort of a 3-month program. It was $1,000 a month to sort of help them through that time when they didn't have a lot of income or weren't getting the funding and money from special events. So that program still continues. It is you can apply on a one-time only, and we do still have some funds available for not-for-profits and charitable organizations in our community that have a bricks and mortar operation, so that they have operating costs, they have lease, hydro, electricity, the various utilities to pay. So that's what that's for.
Very good. And so that was 2 that were extended by council. The third is the development fee application rebate.
Yes, so we have a municipal-wide development application fee rebate, and it's designed to really assist in new investment in the town of Georgina. This year, through COVID, we added an application, and that was a rebate on building permit fees, because we recognize some of the businesses had to modify their interior space to address COVID protocols. So that's what that program was all about.
Very good. And one more I'm going to mention before we get into some of the newer events and initiatives that are taking place is the COVID-19 Community Improvement Plan grant, which is another opportunity for BIA businesses.
Yes, so businesses that are within one of the three dedicated BIAs in the town of Georgina, that's a business improvement area. That's the acronym for business improvement areas of Sutton, Jackson's Point, and this historic area of Keswick, are eligible to apply for funding to support those items that were required to address COVID protocol. And that's what that was for, it wasn't, it was a 50-50 cost sharing. So the business owner had to put in some money in order to have funding available for either technology improvements to help them move online or to address COVID protocols, plexiglass, putting up distance barriers, that sort of thing. And certainly we want anybody to contact our office if they have specific questions, and we can give you some advice, and that's available to the businesses.
Very good. Very good. So, I mean, we have talked a lot about the resources that are available. And as you said, you know, businesses are in need of a helping hand, especially during this time, and that hand holding to be able to navigate their way through the resources that are available. But also having events and raising that awareness is also key. This particular show is going to be airing from February the 3rd until the 17th. And so it really does kind of overlap Taste of Georgina, which is a great opportunity to spread the word about that event that is taking place, being sponsored and hosted through your office.
Yes, this is an initiative that we had thought of and tried to put together in the fall of last year and in preparation for our reopening. And of course, we know that we're not reopening the way we would all like to be. So it's going to be a pilot because we recognize that it's a takeout basis only. And certainly, generally when these Tastes of Georgina or Winterlicious programs are run, we expect dine in and people to get out and move around the community. That's not going to happen, but we think we've got a great opportunity. We have just over 10 businesses, restaurants that have signed up. And certainly they will offer lunch and dinner menus at a specified price point. And it'll run from February 6th till the 19th. So just over Valentine's Day. So everybody, and Family Day weekend. So everybody can get out and hopefully try a few of our restaurants or support a few of our restaurants. It's really important because, as you know, we want those restaurants to be there in the fall and in the winter and stay with us for a long time. So we really need to get out and support those restaurants. So we'll learn from this and build a bigger, better event in the spring or summer.
Yeah, let's go back to that point, right? That it's a pilot and we can't wait to sit on patios and sit and dine and experience and gather and do all of those great things at these businesses over the coming months and years.
Yes,
yeah.
we really want to see that lockdown lifted, all those regulations lifted. But for now, we're going to stay home, stay safe, and hope for the better part of the spring to arrive and to get out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to talk about some of the regional programs and grants that exist with Charles, but one last question. This past week at Council, there was an approval for YSpace and to move forward on the YSpace program. I know it's still in infancy, but can you tell me a little bit about the program and how it will help Georgina businesses?
Okay, so as some of you may know, we have the facility, a hub, the link on Dalton Road in Sutton. And it was contemplated several years ago that we would build out some space to allow additional service providers that provide services to entrepreneurs and to the business community. The Chamber of Commerce is there. So we've now had an opportunity to go to the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs for a grant. A 50-50 grant, and Council has approved $150,000 matching funds if we're successful with the grant application to establish a space at the link that would allow our partner service providers, including York University's YSpace. It would include York Region's Small Business Enterprise Center. It would include South Lake Community Futures and Venture Lab. And it would be a space where maybe those service providers come in 1 or 2 days a week, and they provide dedicated entrepreneurial programs. And they're quite intensive programs that they do provide, from ideation, where people are contemplating an idea, to a point where a business is ready to grow to the next stage. And certainly the resources that are available through those service providers is going to be a real benefit to our community and our business community. So we're hoping for a lot of people to participate. I think it's really important in this pandemic that we provide those services, that extra coaching and mentoring facilities, access to resources that may be aware of other additional private funding opportunities. And it'll be located at the link. Again, we're in the preliminary stages. We don't know what it's going to look like, what the program is going to be at this point in time. We have some ideas, but we are in the process of preparing a grant application right now.
Amazing. Well, I appreciate the scoop for the show. Thank you. Okay, Karen, stay put, because I want to head over to Charles and talk a little bit about the region. Charles, you and I had an interesting conversation last night, and it started with, we can talk about the regional programs and opportunities that exist, but first we have to let people know really the role that the region plays and how they become involved and what they are responsible for when it comes to these grants and opportunities for local businesses. So let's start with that.
Sure, yeah. So again, thanks for inviting me on today. So the role of the region, to give it some context, our primary role, I guess, is to be a supporter of, or to provide complementary services to other levels of government. So, with regard to funding programs and programs that are designed to help local businesses and so on, often what we do is to, complement what those efforts are. So that would include, because they are the primary sources of funding. There are certain constraints that municipalities have to abide by, and due to the Municipal Act. So the federal and provincial governments can provide funding that is meant directly to benefit businesses in the forms of grants and other types of programs.
Right.
And the region is able to help in various ways, complementary ways, in terms of either promoting or educating the local business community about these programs. Sometimes we will be assisting in the delivery of these programs, particularly through the small business enterprise centers that are throughout the region and also across the province. And also, in some cases, we provide funding and promotional and other support to partners to deliver business-related programs and events. So that would include, local chambers of commerce, other partners like Venture Lab, YSpace, and our local municipalities as well.
Right. Very good.
So specific to COVID-related supports, or am I jumping the gun here?
No, that's my next question. You continue on.
Okay. I did remember a conversation from yesterday. So, so specific to COVID-related supports, the story is generally the same. We've created and promoted online resources that capture and direct people to the various federal and provincial programs, as well as some of the initiatives that are like Karen was mentioning earlier, that are available through the local municipalities, including Georgina and the other 8 from across the region. But we also have done a few other things as well. Significantly, I guess, with regard to economic developments, Regional Council made available $500,000 in funding that was dedicated for COVID relief for local businesses. And It has been and is being delivered through programs that are offered by the 4 small business enterprise centers that are in York Region, and on behalf of the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. That's their mandate. And then also in 2 cases, the towns of Witcher-Stouffville and Township of King, this funding is being routed through, their portions of the funding are being routed through their CIP programs.
Right. So you've mentioned the York Small Business Enterprise Center. Let's talk a little bit about what it is and what, because it's under the umbrella of the region of York.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. So the York Small Business Enterprise Center, or the YSPEC, is the proper pronunciation of the acronym, is one of a network of over 40 similar business centers that are located across the province and are funded by the ministry that I mentioned earlier, the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And its mandate is to deliver programs and services to entrepreneurs, startups, and existing small businesses. So the YSPEC is managed, the York Region one, the YSPEC is managed by my division. So it's the Economic Strategy division within Planning and Economic Development at York Region. And we are located in Newmarket, and we service the northern 6 municipalities. So that would include Georgina as well. The cities of Markham, Richmond Hill, and Vaughan, they each have similar small business enterprise centers to serve their respective communities, but there's often collaboration between the YSPEC and the southern 3.
Right. Now, you mentioned the programs and opportunities that exist. They continue to exist. They've been in place and have been a blessing for so many businesses to navigate their way through just startups and business support and initiatives. And now more than ever, through the pandemic, these businesses are in need. And so YSPEC continues to be a solid resource for these businesses, but you've had to pivot some of the initiatives that you have been working on over the last few years as well. Case in point, the Consultations.
Yep. Well, we had to pivot all of our all the services that we offer, even though the physical location of the small business center is closed. The service delivery is ongoing. I wish I could say it was business as usual, but we're not quite there yet. But we're.
I think we all wish we could say business as usual. Yeah. So sorry to answer your question there. So with regard to consultations, we do offer. Normally, we offer group and one-on-one consultations. We are still doing that, though they tend to be more on the one-on-one side of things these days because they're done through this forum and other media, including phone consultations and so on. But the what we're able to deliver hasn't changed. We often get inquiries about different levels of assistance that are available to businesses. Things as basic as how do I start a business, or where can I find a lawyer, or how do I register my business to get a business number, those kinds of things. Those requests are still coming in, and we're still doing consultations and responding to inquiries. And you know what? It's great that those inquiries are still coming in. The idea of how do I start a business? How do I, those are great things to hear because so often right now we're just hearing COVID relief and the struggles. So it's nice to see that there's some growth in certain areas and certain sectors. We all see each other monthly through the Business Recovery Support Partnership. Can you just explain a little bit about what that is and how we've all come together as chambers and economic development and as part of the region?
Sure, yeah. So this partnership, it was developed by the region at the direction of Regional Council back in the spring of last year, April to be exact. And it's mandated to assist businesses throughout the region in accessing various government support programs and what they need to, or what's required to provide additional support. And sometimes that involves doing research and or supporting specific industry initiatives. It's comprised of a broad spectrum, I guess, of representatives, and happy to have you on that as well. So it would include obviously the Economic Strategy Division at York Region, economic development staff from across all 9 municipalities, the 9 chambers of commerce and boards of trade are on there. This workforce planning board, other partners like Venture Lab, York University, Seneca College. So it's a pretty diverse group. And, the primary goals are to assess, economic impact of this pandemic, streamlining business advisory support, and also, helping to enable business community communications to, spread the word about the various programs and supports that are available.
Sure.
And yeah, it was one of the things that was done when it was established, this partnership was established, was also to set up 4 subgroups that were more industry focused. So there's 4 subgroups that are focused on. One of them is focused on agriculture and agri-food. There's one that's focused on business advisory, crisis response, supply chain development, which is centered around PPE suppliers and manufacturers, and also tourism, arts, and culture.
Very good. We just have a minute left, but I wanted to make sure that people knew the resources that were available at a regional level. You said right off the top, the region really is to provide that information and those resources through to businesses. So the region's website we've had up on the screen throughout our conversation, York Link's website, which has valuable resources about all of those different areas and divisions, and the YSPEC, the York Support Business Enterprise Center. Yes, York Support Business Enterprise Center. And so those are great sources of information and resources that are available. Charles, Karen, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation today and really talking about the programs and resources that exist at a local level for Georgina businesses. I appreciate you being on the show. For more information about resources and information as it pertains to Mind Your Business, you can head to our website, georginachamber.com. You can also see previous episodes on the Rogers YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Mind Your Business.